Hello, here is BB Walker. Welcome to my channel again. Today we are going back to Yamaha PSR S670 professional line keyboard arranger workstation, and today is a special video for one of you who asked an interesting question in a comment. So today we will be working with voices and octaves and voice editing and more. So let's get started soon. Alright, so as I said at the beginning, today we will be talking about voices. So we are a little bit into, right side of the keyboard. And the guy who asked, can we reduce any one tone, reduce the tone while using two voices together? And the entertainer asked this question. So, I thought this a very intriguing question. So I will decide to make a video about it. So, of course, if you are interested in much more detailed other information about voice editing, style creator, song composing, arranging, and so on, please take a look into the description of the video. There is a playlist and all the materials set together, so you will find anything you need. And if you cannot find something, just give me a comment and I will give you an answer, and maybe I will give you a tip where to find appropriate information. Okay, so let's go back to the topic. So, you probably know if you're watching this video that in Yamaha, on this particular model, you can play on the right section one voice. Now it's a grand piano, or you can enable the second one. In this particular example, this is strings. Those two voices are, displayed here in the section voice. Of course, for the left, if you enable left, you can have another voice. But today, if you are interested, of course, in voice selection and how this works, you can check my basic video about voice selection and playing how to. And today's question is, can we change the tone of the voice that we are playing while playing two voices together? I haven't spoken it about octave changing, but if you press this button, you change the octave. You can go one octave down, 0 is the default, or you can go one octave up. But in this condition, those two voices are changed together. So there are situations where some voices you need to, transpose, go a few octaves down or up, depending on your playing style, whatever you want. And to do this, is it possible? Yes, actually it's possible. You need to edit voice that you have now selected in memory and save it if you want to be this change permanent. I was talking about this in another video. Please look into the description, there is a reference. However, to change it very fast, you can use a mixer. And today I will show you at the beginning the tip how to do this using mixer, and then we will try to make a permanent change in voice and make a voice, saved, but with different octave signature. So the bass octave will be transposed 2 octaves down. Alright, so if you press a mixer and you are pressing, I will zoom a little bit to give you more, detailed look what's going on. So we are pressing mixer. We are pressing again, until we find something like this. Sorry, here we need to go to, using buttons, we need to go to tab called tune. And here on mixer, so again, to be honest. Do everything from the beginning. Press mixer, and using tabs, go to tab called tune. And now you have this information called octave in here. So it means for right 1 we have 0, so default, nothing up, nothing down. For right 2 we got 0, and for left we got 1 octave up. And using the knob, if you have this selected, now we are on 0, so this button that I have shown you a few seconds ago, this far away from right upper octave plus minus, is now to 0. I set it to 0. But as you can hear, the right one, which in my condition, right one is concert grand, is moved down. And this is actually the answer how to, you can do this. So again, go to mixer, go to tune, and for example, let's move the strings 2 octaves up. And this is what we want to achieve. So basically, you are in the middle of the piano, the strings are 2 octaves up, and the grand piano is 2 octaves down. Let's switch it again. Let's do an inversion. So let's the right 2 go down and piano go 2 octaves up. As you can see, it works perfectly. And so to live performance, to do this at scratch, if you load the voice into memory, you just go to mixer and changing the tune. However, you may be disturbed, you may be thinking what's going on, why those selections changes during the time. Because if you select voice like grand piano and strings, like in this my example from the beginning of the movie, there was a tune to 0 0, which means standard inside in here. Let's change any other voice, and now let's do a voice selection again, and we will select some bass sound. So on the right one I will select the section guitar and bass, and for example my favorite fusion bass. And again, let's go to mixer. And what's going on up here? Magic. Because the information how many octaves you want to move down, which is of course here, and up it's here, this information is saved in voice. So the bass voice, sorry, I got here some mashup with mixes. I need to change the bank. Please subscribe, of course. This bank is called Please Subscribe. This bank is especially, for those who do not subscribe my channel. So I need to do some crazy things in mixer, because now I have a special configuration for my looper. Of course, this is not the default situation, so give me a second, I will fix it. Okay, if you are interested in mixer part, this what I'm doing now, it's of course okay, we are good to go. So this is fusion bass, and as you can hear, we are in the middle section of the piano, and it's 2 octaves down, because this information is stored in voice. So the conclusion is, each time of course you can go and change this using mixer and tune section. So the same like we do in here, but I will give you a proof. You are resetting to 0, for example, so the up, 1 up. This is our fusion bass on the same middle octave in here. And take a look. I am selecting again the voice. I need to select something else and go back to Fusion Bass, and momentarily, at instance, it again load this octave transpose down. So you may be now asking, is there a way how to make this change permanent? I mean, how to edit voice and save it with change octave information. This default tune, octave tune information. And to you may be also interested how to find this information while browsing voices. So all those two answer is yes, and we can do it now, of course, because this is laboratory. We can do everything in here, and everything I am talking, I'm showing you. So voice selection, Fusion Bass. Again, I need to zoom in on a monitor because it's crucial. So Fusion Bass, and here are those two very important buttons, which are responsible for a voice editing. So voice set and effect type. Today we will be talking about voice set. So again, selecting voice set, and we are entering into default settings which are connected, which are attached to voice. And one of them is called the part octave. There are two settings in here. It's right and left. And we now have this voice in memory. I mean, this Fusion Bass by the default has 2 octaves down. And for example, for some reason I would like to save my Fusion Bass with this voice for right or 1 or 2 section set to 0. I want to have this set to 0. So now we will save this as a new voice, because if we go back to main screen, there is information that you have made some changes in your current voice, and this warning reminds you that if you change the voice, you will reset your settings about the octave. Okay, so to prevent it, it suggests you go back to editing, go exit, or save your voice. And the moment where we are saving it, it's now. So we are pressing save, and it automatically moves you to the section called user. Of course, you can save your voice on a USB stick, depending where you want to save voice. Saving voice is, something which allows you to move this voice to another instrument, just like styles you can save, or just the whole performance, the MIDI song. So now we are saving voices. Here are my some altered voice, because I'm playing a lot of with synthetic sounds, synthesizer, and I'm saving it some changes, defaults, not only octave but also DSP effects by the default, the variation parameters, and so on. There's a lot of things that you can do with standard voice from the catalog given you by Yamaha. You can alter it and change into something completely new, much more articulated and interesting. And in the future videos, when my cables will go, I will make a special video for the fan of old school synthesizers. There will be a lot of interesting laboratories, so please stay tuned. Click the bell, whatever, to not forget those videos, because I think they will be very interested. I make a huge progress in the field of synthetic sounds. So saving, stop talking. Now I'm saving Fusion Bass, and I will code it Fusion Bass 0. Okay. And as you can see now, my selected voice is Fusion Bass 0. So Let's do a quick test. I will select any other alto sax. Let's take a look about the voice. This one, for example, for left is going 1 octave up, and for right is 0, so it's not change. But if I now select the fusion bass for the standard catalog, which means, of course, here by selecting guitar and bass and select bass and go to mixer, again on the tune section, as you can see now it's still down. But if you want to load your voice from the memory, of course you can save it into registration banks. Please refer to video about registration banks, where all the information, I mean selected voice, is saved into registration bank. But if you want to fast load your voice, you can use the USB, and here you select what do you want to load. Of course, you can load a memory, a song from memory, a style, or pads, or another registration bank. And we will load the voice for the right one. And it was saved on here on user. And here is our Fusion bass, so enter. And now we have loaded our Fusion bass 0, which means the Fusion bass we've changed one parameter called octave, default octave. I don't know how they save it, but let's call it the default octave transpose. Of course, changing it for bass sounds maybe isn't very smart and doesn't have a very practical applications, but believe me, for synthesizer sounds, like for example this Firewire, which is by the default -1, you may want to transpose it down by the default, and thanks to it you will be able to achieve very deep sound. Or maybe you want to go it with up. It's cool. And now I will give you one more tip for the end of the video, because sometimes, mostly for this kind of sounds, I mean synthesizer sounds like this Firewire, you want to play in octave wave. I mean, you can use a harmony arpeggio to make an octave sounds, but not always you want to do this, because you can only have one arpeggio harmony at the moment, so you can probably have a synth sequence or some kind of electro tremolo or something like this. But you maybe want to play, for example, to C from upper octave and C from lower octave. And now I will show you the trick. I mean, if you load the same voice for the right and for the left, like this Firewire, let's load it. Okay, so I'm loading, I will zoom the screen. Now I'm loading Firewire for both right and left. And going to mixer, I will set one to 0 and the second one to -1. And let's check the results. And we will also make some. And of course I need to enable two voices playing simultaneously. So I'm selecting here those two, okay? But you are advanced user, you already know it. If no, please check the description. Pretty nice. We got playing this Firewire. It's a polyphonic synthesizer, so it modulates the sound. Now I'm using the knobs, and here maybe it's not seen, but if you want to know about live knobs, just check the description. Of course we can go much crazier, so let's go 2 octaves down. Really nice. I loved it. Just, make some improvisation. And now let's change it 2 octaves up and the bass to 0. And to summarize, of course, if you now use the octave up, octave down, which is here, you changing all the instruments. So you can go down or up. And of course, this will affect the, it's like a moving the whole keyboard from this direction or this direction. But if you want to change the bass, sound of the voice itself, you just use, as I shown you, by selecting, you are using voice set, and now you change, for example, for left, depending where this, now it's on the left side, so I am able to change on the left because I have changed here on the left and right, and you can save it by the default for, another value for left hand and another value for right hand. It's useful because depending on it's a bass instrument or it's a sopran, tenor instrument, you may have all this value different. Okay, so now I think it's all for now. This video was especially for the entertainer, and now I am announcing a new series of videos about the synthesizer sound, so please stay tuned. It was BB Walker. See you later.